You don't have to be a prominent Eurasian. Every Eurasian is prominent. Everybody can help in some way or other.
Right.
You don't have to be rich.
Ooh.
Hi everyone, welcome to yet another episode of CHC. It is the Chris Hansen conversation, and I always have the best kind of people seated with me in my studio at CCBTV. And tonight, I have someone really special. She's the one that beats the ethnic beat for a particular ethnic community in Singapore. I'm saying it because I am from that community, and she is Sandra Galistan. Thank you very much for being here, and welcome to the show, Sandra.
Very happy to be here. Thank you.
Okay, hang on a second. I think you're going to move in just a little bit so that we can pick you up. Okay. Right, Sand, thank you once again for being here. And I need to do this. This is customary before we begin all the chit-chat. Yeah?
Okay.
We've got with us this marvelous, probably, and I say this and it is true, the most crispiest, fluffiest damn vades in the land. And it is from Gordon's Vades, and they feed me and my guests all the time. So thank you, VJ. Thank you, Gordon's Vades, and feel free, to munch away.
Yes,
These munchkins are
Definitely.
amazing. So, San, I want to start another thing that's traditional here for me. Okay, on all of my shows, I will always want to throw the mic over to my guest and ask this question, and it's all yours, yeah?
Okay.
Who is Sandra Galistan?
Hard question to answer.
Really?
Like that. Singaporean.
Okay,
True blue Singaporean.
great.
Proudly Eurasian.
Definitely.
Definitely proudly Eurasian. And I'm just trying to do the best for the community right now.
Okay. What do you do actually you have a profession, you have a job, a career?
I'm a photographer.
Yeah, okay, you're a photographer.
Professional photographer.
Wow. How long have you been doing that?
About 15.
So what kind of
18 years.
15, 18 years?
Yeah.
What kind of photography do you do?
I started off in Hong Kong. We did fashion shoots.
Right.
And I learned from a lot of people there.
Mhm.
And then came back to Singapore, started out my own little business. And we do events. I do portraiture.
Oh.
Yes.
Wow.
And then I went to India to live for a couple of years. And then I did professional videography for the Dalai Lama.
For the Dalai Lama.
Yes.
Wait a second.
Yes.
Are you saying that you were the official
Well, yes.
photographer?
The official photographer is Tenzin. He works in Dalai Lama's office.
Right.
But all the Singapore groups that came in to India,
Yeah.
I did the photography for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So you met the Dalai Lama.
Yes, I have.
You have
Several
conversed.
times.
Oh wow.
Yes. Several
Now that we're on that topic, should I do this? Should I?
Go for it.
Okay, that tongue sucking incident.
Yes.
What's your take on it?
Okay. When it first came out, it was just I saw the clip, and,
Right.
I didn't think much of it. And then after that, everything was everyone was outraged. Everyone was the uproar. And then I was like, I lived in the Tibetan community for years. I lived in the Tibetan with Tibetans. My neighbors were Tibetans, the lamas. This thing it is actually not suck my tongue, it's eat my tongue.
Okay, I don't know which is.
Okay. So
I don't know which is.
It is a Tibetan say the grandparents and elder.
Right.
They will give their grandchildren sweets and
Right.
love and hugs.
Right.
And then after that, the grandparents would say, I got nothing left for you but for you to eat my tongue. It's a Tibetan
So it's a
saying.
cultural thing.
It's absolutely cultural.
And it's acceptable in their culture.
Everybody does it. They may not actually do it,
Right?
but it's said.
Okay.
Like, nothing left for you but to eat my tongue. So
Okay.
it's not, it has never been seen. My neighbors have done it. The problem comes when His Holiness the Dalai Lama, because he's taught himself English.
Right.
So, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And instead of saying the word "eat my tongue," which is that usual Tibetan phrase,
He said, "Suck my tongue."
So, and the video is all spliced up. I mean, you work in media, you know.
Right.
How they can just.
Yeah, I know.
You know.
Yeah.
And make it
All
sensational.
all the interesting cuts and snippets, but the important ones they throw away.
Yeah. The boys' parents were sitting just 10 feet from them.
Yeah.
There were hundreds of people.
Was this boy a Tibetan boy?
No, I think he was an Indian boy.
Indian boy.
Indian boy.
Okay.
So everybody was laughing when the Dalai Lama said that, because people in the audience are familiar with it.
Okay.
And so some of the comments were, "Oh, how can everyone be laughing?" It is precisely because it was something so innocent.
Right.
In fact, when I've met the Dalai Lama, he's always playing with people's beards. I photographed it myself of him doing that. He ruffled my hair. So it's a cultural thing.
So people basically, based on, for lack of a better description, based on conventional wisdom, whatever the fuck that would mean, in other cultures outside of the Tibetan culture, misconstrued that as something maybe what a pedophile would actually do,
exactly.
right? Yeah.
Pedophile won't do it in front of national TV, in front of millions of people.
Actually, you got a very good point there.
I mean, there
that's a good point.
Hundreds of cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
And
that's a good point. That's a good point. Why would a pedophile do this openly, right?
And, so something in life, something very innocent can be construed into something very bad. And that just happens all the time.
It's sad. And this is just people with this fucked up cancel culture bullshit, and calling out.
You have His Holiness that has spent his life devoted to good works and peace and harmony and everything, and then that one misconstrued moment, and everybody just boom,
goes through it. Yeah,
that's life, isn't it?
That's life.
You can do good, and then.
But now that we're on that topic, that's life. You can do good, and then people actually come and screw you over. Over something that you see something. You did that,
huh? It's almost a joy that they found, like they pleasure in it.
Yes, they take pleasure in that. So, but in your time, because besides being a professional photographer, and this is the first I'm hearing, man, that you actually sat down with the Dalai Lama and you were taking pictures for him, etc., etc. But the reason why you are in my studio is because you're this person that, today's the first time I think we've met face to face, right?
Yes.
I know you from social media. And the reason why I know you off social media is because of the great work, in my opinion, and I don't give a care in the world what anyone else might think. But in what I see every day, and it marvels me. Eurasians. And then it's not just Eurasians in Singapore. The Eurasians internationally, from birthdays to passing. Yeah. And you put posts up, either congratulating people for birthdays, wedding anniversaries, even sympathies and condolences to those who passed on. I think that is. I mean, you do more than what our broadsheet newspaper would be doing, man. I think it's amazing, really. It's amazing stuff. For those of you who don't know, Sandra Galistan is a person that is running the show of this marvelous portal. May I say that?
Yes.
Portal. We see it all the time on social media. It's called Eurasians International. And she's a person that I call who beats that ethnic beat for the Eurasian community, not just in Singapore, really everywhere. I remember there was a time, and this one really got me. I read this post about one Eurasian lady living in Canada whose apartment burned down.
Yes.
And I was thinking, I was going, what? Hey, how? This is news from halfway across the globe of someone from the Eurasian community living there as a Canadian, I would assume, and having lost everything.
Yes.
And then you guys tried to seek help and crowdfund for her, right?
Yes.
Did it work out?
I think it did work out, but To what extent, I don't know.
Oh, sure, but people did come forward.
Yes.
So this was a good. This has been a great platform for people like that, the people in need, right?
Definitely, because we have the Eurasians that have migrated all over the world,
right?
And as much as they have settled down as an Aussie or a Brit, they're still Eurasian at heart. You know, there's still that Eurasian in them, and so being part of that platform,
right,
where they can come together and see how everyone is doing around the world. I think that's very important.
What else does Eurasian International do?
Okay, we started off with collecting data for all the Eurasians that have passed in the grave at Choa Chu Kang. So we have 2,188 documented images of Eurasians that have passed. Yes, so because Bidadari, my uncle was buried at Bidadari.
Which is all gone now, right?
Which is all gone.
Yeah.
So I don't have even a picture of his grave.
Okay.
And I told my sister, I said, how sad is that? I mean, nobody made an effort to keep all these pictures, and now it's so easy to take photos. So I started doing it at Choa Chu Kang.
Okay.
And slowly over the last 3 years, taking pictures of everybody's grave. And so we have a database now of 2,188, of which if somebody comes from Australia and says, oh, my uncle died in 1997, and he's probably, he's buried in Choa Chu Kang, I can kind of trace their grave for them. Really? Yes.
The plot where they are?
Yes, I've done it.
Okay, I need to ask you, it's noble, it's brilliant, it's fantastic. I gotta say, hats off to you. You spent time going, finding graves. I'm sorry, I'm not funny, but it is also at the same time. And you went.
We spent Sundays,
Wow.
grave hunting.
Wow.
So we walk around and say, oh, D'Souza, yes, take pictures, this side, that side. If the graves are like, and we just go on and on.
But seriously, what's that seed of motivation that would get you to do something like that, as well as starting, Eurasian International? I mean, what is that motivation?
It is part of bringing the community together. Setting up our food bank is one part of it.
Okay, food bank. Let's talk about that. Now you're talking about food bank. I'm sorry, I do this. My brain just goes that way.
Okay.
So food bank.
Right.
What food bank is this?
Okay, so Eurasians International started our own food bank.
Right.
Food bank a few years ago.
And
it started off very small with my family members donating food.
Okay.
And then people would call me. In fact, before that, somebody called me and said, hey, San, I have this auntie staying in Bukit Merah, whatever. And, she's finding a bit difficult and everything. And I was like, oh, okay, how many people in the house? So 1, 2, 3. So I went there and I just gave a parcel to her. It started off very small.
Right.
And then more and more Eurasians started calling us and saying, oh, we have this person, this family needs help. And then I thought to myself, oh, it's getting a bit
a bit big, yeah.
We had already about 10 families. And then so I asked the community, our own Eurasian community, look, I've got 10 families and we need this food. So can you all donate? You don't have to donate a lot. We didn't ask for like a lot of food. The cans of soap, some rice, whatever. And we used to drive and go pick it up. And then some of them would take NTUC and then they would bring the food to us. So then it was getting to the point that my house was getting overcrowded. So I was like, I was going to pour all this food. So I made a storeroom and had this pantry. And then now we have 37 families. 2 Eurasian, 2 have died, passed away since then. So we have 37 families that we take care of.
Wow.
Yeah, on a monthly basis.
Wow.
And then we started, because what is very important to me is Eurasian businesses.
Okay.
That's something that's also very close to my heart.
Right.
I feel that You know, when the Chinese first came to Singapore, they
Right.
set up a clan.
Clan associations.
Clan.
Yes.
All the business owners.
Right.
We've never done that with Eurasians.
Why do you think that's the case, huh?
I don't know why. It's like it has never been a priority. And when the Eurasian businesses don't do well, people are quick to say, Eurasians don't know how to do business, you don't know how to make money. And
You
know?
you get that too?
I get that too. So I was always like, I've studied communities.
Right.
I've studied the Japanese community. I've studied the Jews, very close and successful communities.
Right.
Why? What makes them so successful?
Right.
Cohesive?
Right.
And it's because they support each other. Whereas maybe in the past we are used to criticize each other rather than support.
Okay.
So when I started EI, I told myself, no, I'm going to try to change that for our members. So I started the EI Business Owners Group.
Okay.
So I started 1, 2, 3 business owners. We have over 154 now
Okay.
that we support worldwide.
Okay. And what do you guys do to help this?
We are
It's
part
a
of
business
this
network.
group.
Yeah.
So we help to promote them. We help to write features about them. We find out what their aims are, what their
Right.
goals are. Because
Right.
some people are happy to be home-based owned businesses.
Sure.
Small.
Yeah.
They don't want to.
They don't want to grow. They don't want to scale up. Yep.
They are happy to be. That's fine. And if we can help them to earn a living and be comfortable, why not?
Right.
At the same time, so the main point of it is the Eurasian business owners, the home cooks,
Right.
and doing that, we're also keeping the Eurasian heritage food alive.
Right. So that explains what I see often enough. Well, all the stuff you put out for home bakes and home cooks, right? Right. Okay.
Yeah, so then what I thought is, okay, we are giving provisions, and there's a certain segment of our members that's helping. We have so many home-based businesses that they can provide bentos. So then the members can then go to the business owners and say, oh, I want to sponsor 20 bentos.
Right.
And
so it
you're
works
helping
also.
the business owners.
Right.
You're helping the recipients.
Right.
And the sponsors, and it's all we're doing it ourselves.
Right.
We're not asking anyone else for
Wow.
money.
Wow.
So it's all within the
So all this started with taking pictures of graves.
for the community. Yes.
Yes. And then evolved into
this whole
the business network,
The
and it
business
evolved into the food. I mean, first the food bank, and then the business network. Is there anything else? I'm sure there are.
We feel that, like the musicians, we want to help them when they put out their videos. We want every Eurasian to know who's Chris Hansen, who's Leonard Rizal, who's every.
Yeah.
It's like, what a shame you don't even know your own people.
Yeah. And I mean, we Eurasians are, well, proudly, we Eurasians are known to be talented when music is concerned.
Absolutely.
And when media work is concerned, and as being entertainers. Sadly, stereotype.
Yes.
Stereotype with others. That, hey, you are Eurasian, right? Eurasian means you Ben boy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And sometimes it gets a bit grating. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. I mean, what? Why do you think? And that's exactly what it is. I can relate completely. I'm Eurasian, I'll say it. Okay, you're Eurasian, you must be band boy. Oh, Eurasian cannot do business.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So what you said, it's very relatable. I can completely
all
relate.
These kind of stereotypes, why do they exist? Because no one stands up to dispute it.
Yeah.
There's not enough information out there of people, of Eurasians that are doing other things.
Right.
So when they are in business, I want to promote them. When they are studying for their masters, I want to promote them and follow their journey.
Okay. Can I ask you this? From one Eurasian to another. We just spoke about stereotyping, right? You know what is the other thing that bugs me? There's a real itch in my ass that I just cannot scratch. That is every time I have to fill up a form and it says race,
You say others.
and it says others, and I've got to do the extra work of checking
Right.
others
Right.
and writing down my race. What's your take on that?
Well, as long as we are not united, we'll always be others.
You think?
Of course,
Is that
that's-
really the reason? I mean, that it
I think
calls for
there's
our ethnic
Okay.
unity for this to happen?
Okay, let's put it this way: there are only 18,000 Eurasians in Singapore.
Wow, I didn't know that.
That's not much of
Okay.
that's not much of a voice
Right.
in terms of.
So okay,
No.
if we look at other minorities, then we look at, say, the Sikh community.
Okay,
Are they larger than us?
I'm not so sure about that,
Mm.
but Eurasians are mixed. So you have Eurasians that are Eurasians but mixed with Chinese.
Yeah, that's me.
Eurasians, all the rojak, they'll say, right?
Yeah.
So I think for the others, like the Sikhs, they marry their own within their own
community. Yeah, but
So we are seen too much as it's too complicated.
really?
Yeah,
What's so complicated? To me,
I'm not for
I mean,
it.
has it
I'm not
evolved?
for it.
you're not for it.
I'm not for it. I would. When I started Eurasians International, one of the first posts I made was about being others. I said my great grandparents, my parents, they did so much, and how have we gone
Not-
from Eurasians to others?
Exactly. That is exactly what I feel.
And that is one of the motivating forces of whatever I do.
You see, I don't think it's a matter of, because we're so mixed.
Yeah.
Look, it's simple, okay? You follow the father's surname,
Right.
right?
Yeah, it's not complicated.
Yeah. And your father's surname means you follow your father's race.
Yeah.
Simple as that. And so therefore, that's not an issue when it comes to the national registry anyway.
Yeah.
When a kid is born, the race is taken from the father.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So
I think it was during Goh Chok Tong's time that.
no, but even before that,
Yeah.
I mean, was there
so.
ever a time that there was an option to check off as a Eurasian?
I think there was.
There was?
Yes.
Oh, must have been before I was born, man. Really? I mean,
It was.
I've never seen that. I've never experienced that at all.
I think so. Yes, there was. I think. Eurasian,
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. I mean, what the hell? Who the hell changed that, man?
So that's why, whatever I do, it's always. And somebody told me rather, why do you say proudly Eurasian? Isn't that so arrogant? And I was like, I'm actually proud to be part of the 18.
Wait. This person
small-
asked you.
It's a Eurasian.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's weird.
Yeah.
That is really weird.
Yeah. That's. So, it's like you're part of 18,000. Rather than it to be a crutch,
Right.
you should use your uniqueness to make a difference.
Yeah. I mean, look, we're people with nice freaking names, man.
Exactly.
Double eyelids and bone in the nose and all that. You know, you know what I mean?
So use your uniqueness,
Yeah.
use your exotic,
Yeah.
use it.
Yeah, why not?
and,
Why the hell not?
Mix it up.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder about, how is that arrogant? You gotta be proud of whoever you are. Look, listen,
Exactly.
man, look at me. I'm a melting pot. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm a melting pot, man. My mother is pure Peranakan.
Right.
My dad's Eurasian,
Right.
right? I'm raised more Peranakan
Right.
than I'm raised Eurasian.
And how fabulous is that?
Yeah, and but to me, you can't escape the fact. I can't escape the fact, and I'm not about to escape the fact that I am Eurasian.
Yeah.
Why should I?
Yeah.
Right? I'm just proud of the fact, though, that I have heritage that comes two-pronged.
Absolutely. Exactly.
And I'm not the only one in the Eurasian community, just like that. That is like that. I'm not the only one. I know that for a fact, right? We celebrate. I think we're able to celebrate
That's the word.
diversity.
That's the word.
Yeah.
Celebrate.
Yeah.
Rather than saying, oh, I have this identity crisis. Oh, I don't know, am I this or am I that? Just celebrate who you are.
Yeah.
Part of you is Chinese, part of you is Eurasian.
Yeah.
You can be Armenian, you can be
Right.
Portuguese.
Yeah.
Celebrate it.
Yeah. You know, I mean, the diversity is amazing, right?
Yeah.
It should not be seen as as complication.
It's as complicated
you know?
as you think it to be.
Yeah, and I really don't like it. You know, some people say innocently thinking it's fine.
Yeah.
But I really don't like it when I have people, you know, in Hokkien and they go, "Oh, you tap ting."
Oh, yeah.
Well, I really hate that, man.
And
I hate that.
in the past, you know, people, even now, look at you, oh, what are you? You're Singaporean. Ah?"
Yeah, figure it out, man. Figure it out. I mean, I've had,
You know?
I've had people who thought I was Filipino. I've had people who thought that I was freaking Maori, man. I was like, oh, really? You know, because I got this? Well, come on, think. You know, I've had Kiwi guys in Bali when I was in Bali
Right.
crossing the street and going, well, yeah, mate, how you doing, mate?
Yeah.
And they actually thought that I was
And
Kiwi.
it's so fabulous because
Yeah, it is.
You know,
Yeah, it is. I think
can fit in and-
people can't figure you out. What are you? What are you? What are you?
part of it also is, say, 30 years ago, 40 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
I was flying for SQ,
Uh-huh.
and as a
Oh,
stewardess,
you were stewardess?
Yes, I was
Okay.
stewardess.
Okay. Wow.
and you know, the Americans used to come on board and they would say, "Oh, they speak English." Like we speak English. I was like, you know, Singapore's part of China. They have no idea.
Oh gosh.
You know, it's come a long way, but these are stereotypes that we need to break
Oh, you
out
see,
of.
that's the
And we
thing.
have.
That's the thing. You see, you know, Singaporeans. We talk about being a Singaporean, right? You're proudly Singaporean.
Yeah.
I am proudly Singaporean. Though we're Eurasians, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're not proud of nation, of country.
Exactly.
You know, and rightly said, because as you said earlier, right? How is it that we still come classified under others. And we got to fill it out, right? When our forefathers, I mean, and my dad included, my dad was quite a figure.
Exactly.
Yeah? And the amount of sacrifice they've made
So
for this country.
so unfair.
Yeah, regardless of whether it was before independence or after independence, that's not the point.
That's not the point.
Right? The point is that it's still on this land.
Yeah.
And yes, we are proudly Singaporean. You know?
And the thing is, how can you expect the average Singaporean to know what is a Eurasian if we are always going to be classified under others?
Exactly. It's still it's amazing. I mean, I'm in my 50s now, and since I was a young kid until today, when people ask me, what race are you? I can't figure it out. And you tell them, and I tell them, Eurasian, and they go, what's that?
Yeah.
And I thought, maybe years later, things will get better.
No, it's just get worse.
It's still the same.
It's the same.
I mean, in my opinion, it's still the same. Like,
Right.
what's that? Then you got to go. Some people will get it. Some people will.
Yeah.
If you say Sarani,
Yeah.
some people will get it.
Yes.
Some people still don't.
Yeah.
And they end up using, as I said earlier, this term I hate. Oh, it's up thing. I mean, look, dude, if you want to go that far, right? Imagine if I want to insult someone, which I don't want to, and I don't intend to turn this into a racial show.
Right.
And it's not a racial show, yeah? Please, we're two Eurasians having a chat, and this is a real intimate chat, so you either appreciate it, don't like it, get the fuck out, okay? And frankly, if you have a person who's Cantonese and marries a Hokkien,
Right.
you're a Chinese and marrying a Chinese,
Yeah.
you're different dialect groups, I'm not going to call you a Chapting.
Yeah.
And nobody would actually.
Yeah.
Why do you do it with us? I think that's not nice, right?
Yeah.
I think calling someone a Chindian, I mean, nowadays it seems to be quite acceptable.
It's quite acceptable.
It's quite acceptable.
Yeah.
But I don't know, but I don't know whether they get it as I won't say as bad. I don't know whether they have the same kind of experience.
Right.
I mean, it's amazing. I had Divya Nair on my show, the last show I had,
Right.
and we were talking about this, and and this guy speaks Mandarin like water.
Right.
Yeah, dude. Dude, you're putting it to good use, man. I mean, it's great, right? I think we have to learn how to celebrate diversity.
Celebrate it.
Really,
Yeah.
I'm going to have a shoot very soon with Dr. Geraldine Tan. She's going to be on my show too.
Right.
And, since we are talking about this, this is where I find sometimes there's a lot of ignorance when it comes to other races.
Yes.
Right? And the minority races, that is. And, for example, and also the understanding of culture.
Yeah.
Much like the Dalai Lama and the eat my tongue thing, right?
Yeah.
It's got completely misunderstood and thrown out of whack. Yeah. For us, we don't even understand our own sometimes.
Yes.
For example, there was this young lady. She's she's Muslim, and they're celebrating. Well, I would say the right word to say would be celebrating the holy month of Ramadan, right? So they're fasting. Yes. Iftar is when they book up puasa. That's when they break their fast.
Right.
And then she was on an MRT train.
Ah, yes.
And it is obligatory for them to break fast. At least if they were to just drink a glass of water or drink some water or have a bite of something, right?
She had a Snickers bar.
Yes. And then she was admonished by a commuter on the train. And no matter what, that commuter was leaning on the law that you cannot eat and drink on the train. She went to see the station master. She asked the station master about it. I can't do that. Yeah. And he smiled and he was kind. Right. He says, just as long as you don't litter the wrapper. Yeah. Some people understand, thankfully. Yeah. Yeah. Right? We can always lean on the law.
Exactly.
We can.
Yeah.
The letter of it. But forget about the spirit lah.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
you have to have the kampung spirit.
Exactly. And to me, I was honestly, I had steam coming out of my ears when I read about that, because
I think it's also a cultural thing now, becoming a cultural thing. Everyone has a phone.
Yeah.
Everyone is like this citizen vigilante.
Yep.
Oh, you did something wrong. Take out the phone and video you, and
And they're calling out.
Calling out.
Yeah, they're calling out. But
sometimes it's just uncalled for.
It is. I think this poor girl. I look. I would say this.
It's intolerance.
Yeah, other people who are not Muslims, you try fasting for a month. Yeah. With no water and no food for most hours of each day. And then that you want to be fervent in your faith, and you have got to observe certain rules. Yeah. For yourself, for your faith. Yeah. Right? We have to give in, give way, understand, rather than rip people apart.
Yeah. I think there are too many people just waiting for somebody to do something wrong.
Yeah.
And then
I think so. I think so. It gets a little much though. Are there any goals that you have? I've heard some, but I don't know if there's any other that would be you definitely would want to mention here. Any goals that you have for the community?
I think the most important thing about any community is to have that soul. Okay. To care for each other. Right. And not just on a superficial level. You can come up with a lot of programs. If it doesn't impact on anyone, it doesn't matter. But to have, to create a platform that actually really benefits individuals. Right. A rising star that wants to sing. Somebody that's going through a hard time, challenging times, to actually have food on the table. Right. Something real that happens. It's not just all written down. Oh, sounds very nice, sounds very flowery, but no one sees it. I want people to feel it. Right. To have that, the community is behind you. To be automatically motivated to move forward and drive for the community. Yeah, and everybody can be somebody. You don't have to be a prominent Eurasian. Every Eurasian is prominent. Everybody can help in some way or other. Right. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to be this, Yeah. You can be a middle income. No problem. You can donate X amount if you earn more, if you want to give more. Right. That's fine. This sounds like what the church is asking for. So we need to make it work. Right. We need to have it, everybody from their heart to give, one packet of rice. Some can afford to give that, and that's fine. Right. that will help a family
Right.
through a hard time.
So basically, what you're asking for, truly, if I may sum this up for you, correct me if I'm wrong. Your goal, big picture, would be just basically what you started the show with: unity.
Unity, yeah.
Everyone just come together.
And somebody told me
Uh-huh.
just a few weeks ago, oh, you have food from the heart.
Mhm.
You have all these other organizations giving food.
Mm-hmm.
I said, the food that we give
Mm-hmm.
is what Eurasians like to eat. It's not just food. I can put a kaifan or something like that.
Yep.
Doesn't mean a Eurasian would like to eat that.
Yep.
But if it had devil curry,
Mm-hmm. Fang.
feng, that acha, Eurasian sambal,
Suji.
suji cake, which they haven't had forever. So what we are giving is not just give you some food, packet food.
Yep.
It's food that they might not have had for 20 to 30 years
Yep.
because of their circumstances.
Right.
It's food that not that they can go out and make it themselves.
Cuisine that they used to enjoy before in better times, you mean?
Exactly.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
so we're not just giving food. Even when we give canned food,
Mhm.
we give them what they used to have, and maybe they can't afford it now.
Mm-hmm.
Corned beef,
Mm. Yeah.
that kind of
Yeah.
luncheon meat,
Yeah.
spam.
Yeah, here you go.
Uh,
I'm salivating. Thank you so much. Yeah.
and even the food in the bentos are
Yeah.
all Eurasian classic
Dishes.
or Eurasian dishes, heritage food.
Right. And
So-
people actually cook up. There are Eurasians that
Yeah.
that's helping out, and they're cooking up all
Yeah,
these.
and we've had families that they don't go through a business owner.
Mm-hmm.
The family gets together
Mm-hmm.
and cooks corned beef stew,
Mm-hmm.
makes corned beef
Wow.
cutlets,
Mhm.
cooks the rice,
Mhm.
and comes and redistribute it.
Okay.
So the whole family has come up with the money, the
Right.
funds,
Right.
and they're also cooking the food for people that need.
I want to say, great job, guys. Those of you that's been helping out in the food bank. I
Yeah.
mean, it's great stuff. Please don't stop. It'd be great to have more people come in and do
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
The way I've been saying things from the get-go, from the time we started, is as if EI paying me. No, I make it very clear, okay?
And,
Yeah.
and also one of the goals is that, you're having a hard time. We've had a guy that he lost his job during COVID,
Mm-hmm.
and he was having a very hard time, and we were there for him
Right.
in our own small way.
Mm-hmm.
And after COVID, he got a job, and then he is now a sponsor.
Wow.
He was a recipient,
So he's giving back
and now
now.
he's a sponsor.
Wow.
And now he calls me. Hey, Sen, do you need somebody to someone to drive you?
Mm-hmm.
To distribute the food. He's helping me carrying the food.
Wow.
He's the uncles and aunties.
He's putting in the labor.
He's putting in the labor. He's
Right.
fixing the houses.
Yeah.
He and
Wow.
his wife.
Wow. Wow.
So it's coming full circle.
Wow.
And that's EI has to be able to operate without me at some stage.
That's really noble.
It's not about what I'm doing. It's about what can be done.
But I still didn't get the answer from you. As you just said again, EI's got to function without me, and that is correct.
At some stage, yes.
That's correct.
Yes.
Legacy's got to go on with or without someone, especially the person who started it all,
Yeah.
right? But I'm still trying to get it. The driving force behind Sandra Galistan are doing
The driving
all
force
this.
is my mother.
Now we're getting somewhere. Okay.
The
Tell me
driving
more.
force is my mother.
Tell me more.
I've had a very blessed life.
Okay.
Stewardess, had my own business.
Mm-hmm.
I've done okay.
Okay.
And all the time, my mom was always told me, go do the work for the Eurasian Association. And I was
Right.
like, I was just a little bit too happy, enjoying my life
Okay.
to do the things that I think my mother would have wanted me to do.
Right.
I mean, we helped, but it was only to a certain level.
Right.
And then when my mom passed away
Mm-hmm.
in 2011,
Mm-hmm.
I was just left with all this memory,
Right.
all these things that she did for the community
Right.
quietly.
Mm.
And I was like, I needed to do something.
You felt that there was a need, something was prigging away at you.
It was just eating away at me.
Right.
I had to do something, and that's why I started EI.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother is the co-admin.
Oh, okay.
My heavenly presence, and all the things that she used to do.
Mm-hmm.
I remember following her in the car. She had this box of food, and I was like, and she would go out and give to this person and quietly come out, just put it at the door, and all those things that she did. And I started to remember it and told myself, I need to do this. I need to continue part of her legacy.
So basically, your mother actually was and still is the driving factor.
Absolutely, 100%.
That was what I wanted to find out.
100%.
Because it takes a lot for someone to commit so deeply to something like this.
It is my mom, absolutely.
Well, God rest her
and
soul.
every time I am tired,
yeah,
and every time I think this is a lot. I'm not a spring chicken, and we do get tired, and I tell myself, no, it's okay. I can rest, but tomorrow's another day.
right.
Somebody's passed away, and we need to do what we need to do. Or
And you're doing this alone, or are there people helping you do
I have
this?
three main volunteers, and also we don't have a huge volunteer base for what we do because we are doing something very privately, giving food and respecting the person's dignity. We don't do photo shoots. Me giving a packet of rice, and take pictures of the people.
No wayang lah, basically lah.
No.
Okay.
We do things very quietly.
Right.
We just give the food and we leave.
Right.
And there are some recipients that I don't know their names.
Okay.
Auntie and uncle. I don't need to know who they are. I know they're Eurasian, or they're Eurasian married to Malays, Indians, Chinese. Doesn't matter. As long as someone is a Eurasian,
Yeah.
we will be there. We
You
will
will
try
reach
our
out.
best.
You will reach out.
Reach out, yeah.
Okay.
So,
okay.
and sometimes it's we have to think of the recipient.
Okay.
That person could be somebody's auntie,
Right.
uncle.
Right.
And when they open the door and they see there's somebody that they know at the door, as in their relative,
Yeah.
it might be a bit embarrassing for them.
Right.
So we always think we don't want to put them through that.
Don't put them in a spot.
Yeah,
Right. Everyone's got their dignity.
yeah. So we do. Sometimes our volunteers are not Eurasians. Yes.
Wow.
So they know it's from EI,
Yeah.
but it might be a Chinese or
Yeah.
at the
And
door.
they step forward and they
Yes,
help.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So
That's diversity for you.
yes. So when the recipient opens the door, it might not necessarily be, Eurasian giving
Right.
food. Can
Right.
be anyone.
Right.
But it's from us.
Right. If I were to ask you right now, right, and it's strange coming from a fellow Eurasian, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Yeah, because you're the guest of the show, so I have to
Okay.
ask you this. If I were to ask you to describe the Eurasian, general, the Eurasian, how would you describe it?
The Eurasian psyche,
The Eurasian, well, however you might
Okay.
see my question.
very generous.
Okay?
And I say this because in most Eurasian households you go to, they always want to make you feel comfortable, always more food, always giving in this way. Money might not be a priority.
Okay. Might say earning money?
Earning so much money.
Right.
The chase for that.
To
might
chase
not
for
be
the
a priority.
Right.
They have enough, they share. Religion is important. The Eurasian.
You don't
They
have.
like to celebrate.
Okay. Here we go.
They like to celebrate.
Uh-huh.
Of course, we have been stereotyped, the good
Yeah.
time Charlies and everything.
But you know what?
But we have fun and
We have fun. We know how to have a good time.
We know how to party.
So sue us, right?
We know how to party.
We know how to have fun.
And we don't have to be apologetic for it.
Yep. Yeah, we should
You
not
know?
apologize for it.
We should not
Yeah,
apologize.
we shouldn't.
And we don't, in terms of being competitive, we're not overly competitive. I think we can be a little bit more competitive.
You think so, huh?
I think we can be.
Okay. So you think perhaps part of
And
it...
that's why sometimes we lag behind, because we lack
Right.
that.
The extra oomph.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we tend to be a more like...
Do you think just after what you
get
just said, that you're probably going to get some stuff hurled back at you because of what you just said? Do you think so?
I don't think so.
From some quarters of the community?
No.
No?
I think as every community can strive to be better.
Mm.
It's not generally only Eurasians.
Well said.
Every one of us
Well said.
can be better.
Everyone, every community,
Every
regardless.
community.
Regardless. Right.
You know,
It's how much we want
in
it.
the past,
Yeah.
we used to emphasize on certain communities that all need help.
Yeah.
Every community needs help
Right.
in different ways.
Right. Right. This is going to be one last question. I think we've been talking for about, let's see now, we've been talking for about an hour. Wow. Time flies. Which one? Pick one, huh? One. Okay?
Okay.
It can be none. That's the other option.
Okay.
Feng, suji cake, curry devil.
I would have to say suji cake,
Okay, why?
because my brother made a business out of it.
Mm.
Temptations Pastry Shop.
Oh,
Jeffrey
okay,
Galistan.
okay.
His suji cake it's my grandmother's recipe. It
Right,
was my grandmother's recipe.
right.
And so that was something very special. To be very honest, when growing up, I didn't know what's inside Feng. We just ate it. It was like, okay.
Yeah.
But suji cake has to be, because it's very much part of all our celebrations.
Yes.
And Jeffrey was a chef. He passed away.
Mm-hmm.
But every birthday, he would, make suji cake.
Mm.
And, yeah.
I get my fix every Christmas, man.
Yeah.
I like to thank Priscilla. Every year I get your suji cake. I also have my Feng fix
Right.
every Christmas
Right.
from Chris Pereira. Thank you very much for always feeding me Feng every year. And because, as I said, I'm raised Peranakan. I have a lot of that, loads of those, right? But I know for a fact, the Eurasian side, will friends of mine, and family, they will also contribute at least during Christmas time. And I get my fix.
But now we are trying to say you don't only have to wait for Christmas to have.
Here we go. She's gonna slide that one in.
Or Christmas, or curry devil.
Yeah,
or
because
Feng.
there are all these businesses that actually have it. It's available.
All the
And you
time.
know what? I have actually ordered some stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I have, and yes, I am aware.
Yeah.
And trust you me, I do go and I do check them out whenever you
Right.
post them. I
It's
do.
quite hard
Yeah.
at first for the Eurasian to try other people's curry devil or Feng or suji cake.
Right.
Because if their parents made it,
Yeah.
they'll be like,
Oh, I prefer my mother's one. I prefer my grandfather's
Yes.
mother's one. Blah
yes.
blah blah. Yeah.
So there's that barrier,
Yes.
which we've taken 2 years
Yeah.
to try to break it down.
Yeah. Well, it's great, man. I mean, that's so difficult to do, but you're doing that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's amazing, frankly.
Okay.
For those of you, for if any Eurasians are watching this, outside of those who are already aware of Eurasian International, if you haven't been to the site, or rather, you can catch them on Facebook. That's the easiest place to go. Like them on Facebook, okay? But not forgetting, if you're going to do that, you got to also head down to CCBTV on Facebook and make sure that you hit the notification button, hit the like button, and then you can also go to Instagram and go to ccb.tv_, and you can catch our reels there. But more importantly, go down to CCBTV podcasts on YouTube. Subscribe to us there. We got lots more than just this show. We've got other shows that we're producing out of the studio as well. So catch us there. And not forgetting, last but not least, Gordon's Vades, man. This is the bomb. This is Chris Hansen together with Sandra Galistan as my guest. Thank you so very much for joining us on CHC. No, we are not a church. It's called the Chris Hansen Conversation. I'll see you guys real soon. Bye-bye.